Hello, everyone. Welcome to the International Younger Chemists Network workshop series of professional development. This is our number 10 professional development workshop, which is titled Chemists Transforming Science from the Lab Bench to Business. My name is Fatima Mustafa. I am the IYCN Conference and Presence Committee leader, and I will be co-hosting this event along with my colleague, Tracy. Tracy, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi everyone. My name is Tracy Lau. I am also a IYCN Conference Committee member. Thank you for attending.
Thank you, Tracy. Thank you, everyone, for joining us from different zones in the world. Thank you for our speakers who accepted to be with us today. Unfortunately, we're going to have one of our speakers, Dr. Sophia Khan, who apologized to be here with us. However, we have two amazing speakers, Dr. Hilonga from Tanzania and Dr. Kocherga from the United States. Let me briefly introduce you about our program for today. We are focusing in entrepreneurship in chemical sciences. Thousands of publications and scientific work ends up in publications and patents. However, fewer work go and move forward to bench or just to market or to businesses. In this workshop, we are hosting a couple of entrepreneurs who have moved and they created and launched businesses out of their scientific work. We are happy to learn from them about their careers, their technologies, their challenges, and we hope this opportunity help other younger chemists who are willing or maybe hesitant to take a step forward in this regard. Please welcome with me Dr. Hilonga and Dr. Margaret Kocherga in this workshop that they will talk about for about 20 to 25 minutes, and then we will be having a Q&A session for each of them. So please stay tuned, and if you have any question, just write them in the chat box, and we will be happy to address them in our program for today. At the end, we will be having the closing remarks and talk a little bit about our future events. Let me briefly introduce you to the International Younger Chemists Network. This network is associated with the IUPAC. It was started in 2017. The vision is to connect and empower younger chemists globally. And if you want to be a member, please visit our website, iywcnglobal.com. Also, if you want to know more about our projects and our events, please connect with us through our social media platforms listed here. All right, let's get started with our first speaker, Dr. Hilonga. Dr. Hilonga did his Master for Public Health in Chamoyok University in South Korea, and he did his PhD as well in Chemical Engineering at Hanyang University in South Korea too, and he got his Master in Chemistry and a Bachelor in Chemistry and Biology from the University of Dar es Salaam. He is featured on the video with Bill Gates and other world-renowned dignitaries and got connected to His Royal Highness the Duke of York, Prince Andrew. He is the winner of 22 reputable awards, including World Health Organization, Health Prize, Pitch and Palace, and the Africa Prize for Engineering Innovation 2015, sponsored by the British Royal Academy of Engineering. He is the inventor of a low-cost water filter, the Nanofilter, which is patented and trademarked. He has published 56 articles by January 2022, authored 2 books and 1 book chapter. He is a role model for the academic, for society and industry, and an approach championed by NMS ACE University, where he works as a lecturer. We are very delighted to have you here, Dr. Hilonga, and very excited to learn from you about your technology in clean water. So without further ado, Dr. Hilonga.
Hello, thank you very much for inviting me to this very, very precious conference. It's of International Young chemists. So I want to show you my slide here. Okay, I hope you see. Do you see my slide here?
We don't
Hello.
see it. I still see Fatima. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, we see your desktop now.
Yes,
Okay.
we can see your desktop, and we cannot see your photo. If you enable your camera, that will be perfect. We can use your slide right now.
Perfect.
Perfect. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. So thank you for very generous introduction. Maybe I will have forgotten some things there. I am Professor Askwar Hilonga. I was promoted 2 years ago, so I sometimes forget still mention as a doctor, but it's a professor. I finished my PhD about 12 years ago in South Korea, and I'm so privileged to talk to relatively younger people to me, maybe. I hope you will be inspired by this presentation. This year I'm turning 46, so I hope I have something interesting to share with you, and I hope it will inspire you. I work at the Nelson Mandela University here as a professor, and I teach material characterization and nanotechnology. Those are the subjects I teach here. But I also have my private company. The name of the company is Gongali Model. So Gongali, the name of my village, I call the company by the name of my village, Gongali Model, which means an example from my village, Gongali. And also I have an NGO, and beside Nanofilter, my water purification system, I have another product that's called biogas, but also solar lantern. I have an inspiration and empowerment center. I'm doing training. I have a hotel. I normally host events here. So when you are coming to Tanzania, please don't stay somewhere in an awkward place. Just come to my hotel and enjoy a real hospitality from a genuine Tanzanian. Thank you very much. And today I have a story to share with you. It is in terms of a story. It's not a complicated presentation of my journey being an entrepreneur, a scientist who is an entrepreneur, an innovator, who has struggled to take his product from the lab bench to business. So this is the story I'll be sharing. If I skip anything, please feel free to ask your questions for clarification, because I want to be a role model, to be followed as an example for many people to follow this example, to make an impact in their communities. I should not forget this motto: I am determined to be a billionaire, not in terms of money, but billionaire in terms of impacting billions of lives. So this is my commitment, and I hope with this I will, through this platform now, I will reach a good number of people, and through the YouTube link that will be shared, I hope I will reach many people. So to start with, I have an interesting story to share here from my first slide, that we have made an impact that is recognized by the government of Tanzania. This is the report by the Ministry of Health, that our innovation has contributed to cutting down waterborne diseases in our region by 42.9%. As an innovator, as a scientist, this is the story that I have been looking for my work to be appreciated by the community, by the government. So I have it here. And this is my company. I built my company from zero, scratch. And now I have employed more than 27 people. So more than 100 people employed. And this is another success story that I can share. I work with my students and students from neighbor universities and also from abroad. Some come as volunteers or interns. So even those who are listening now, if someone is interested to come to Tanzania for an internship of 3 months, 6 months, 1 year, you're warmly welcome. So I work with these people. The impact we have made so far up to now is that I have reached 380,000 people, and we have created employments, and we are reaching more and more people. I have won 22 awards, as Fatima has mentioned. These are awards of different kinds. Some are financial, what is that? Cash award, but some is just a shaking of hand, and there are different kinds of award, and I'm so grateful for this, including World Health Organization Award. This is a very reputable award. I was in Geneva to receive this. It's a precious opportunity. And the next step we have now is to, I got an opportunity now through a certain Canadian runner. The lady wants to run from Israel, from Egypt, Alexandria in Egypt to Cape Town in South Africa. And all along her way, as she ran on foot, she wants to install water stations based on my water purification system, Nanofilter. So we are now organizing this run. The name of this Canadian lady is Veronique. So Veronique ran, and it's a big step that we want to take this from this year, God wishes. Now let me also, we are expanding. We are in Tanzania, we are in Kenya, and in Zambia. So this is our office in Zambia. If there is a Zambian listening here, we are also in your country. And we want to go to other countries also. If there are people who are interested for partnership, just contact me. My email is hilonga@gmail.com. We can talk more about this business and how to scale up to your countries. And these are our partners. We have many partners who are scattered around the world. And I hope very soon, International Young Chemists Network will be our next partner, I hope. So I am so grateful for this. So this is just a preamble of my presentation. I will go a little bit deep now, so you can ask your questions thereafter. So to introduce myself a little bit better, I am married to a beautiful lady here, and by the name of Ruth. She is the CEO of our company now. She also did her MBA in South Korea. We have 2 children. They are not this much young. This picture is sometimes back. This was when we were in South Korea. So it looks like it's a dream fulfilled with my wife and PhD and 2 children. It's just beautiful life. And then welcome to Tanzania. This is the time when we returned to Tanzania. Life was not that easy. There are a lot of challenges, infrastructure and here and there. But I said, instead of casting the darkness, let me light the candle. That's why in the midst of my company logo, you will see a candle, because I believe that the candle, one candle, that's a fact. One candle can light 1,000 candles without losing its own light. And that's what I'm doing now to inspire many people to make impact. So when I was in South Korea, I had an opportunity to visit the US, but they said they rejected my visa. Also, I had an opportunity to visit the UK, they rejected my visa. Reason being, therefore, these people are not satisfied that I will leave their countries at the end of my proposed visit. But anyway, this time I have no fight with any country now. We are very good friends. I have been to the US a number of times. I have been to the UK nine times, and in many other countries, 20 different countries around the world. And I have a very good reputation online. You can go and search for Hilonga, and you will see the papers I have. It's a good reputation. But my question is, okay, 20 different countries, papers, and whatever I have done, but what does it mean to my community? What does all this celebrity, being a celebrity, mean to my people back home? If I go there and I say, oh, I have these papers, I have that, and it's useless, unless I have a tangible solution to solve their real problem. And that is how I come up with the nanofilter innovation. So, and the problem I'm solving is real. People are struggling with waterborne diseases, and it is the motto of my university to really use these scientific findings, the academia for society and industry. That is the motto of my university. So I have my goal mission, and it is a win-win with my university. We take the problems from the community, we bring to the Nelson Mandela laboratories, and we send back the solution to the community. That is our approach that we use at our university. The problem we are solving is real. Waterborne diseases is a real problem. If you ask me, how did you know? It is through the statistics from the hospitals. You see, people are still suffering from the internal worms, typhoid, diarrhea, cholera in the 21st century. This is not fair. We have solution, we should deploy it. But also the bone fluorosis and teeth fluorosis, which is caused by the high level of fluoride. This is the problem in Tanzania and all along Rift Valley, Kenya, Ethiopia. They are struggling with this problem, and my filter is able to remove this problem. And the innovation started with a baby step like this. It's just a rudimentary thing like this. You look at it, you see you need to be on the top of a Land Rover to really put water on the filter. But I continue to improve it like this. You can see now I made some improvement. So from the Land Rover size to the smaller size up to this level, a smaller filter that is now suitable to be used in a family. And I was trying to use the different designs. I worked hard to come up with a final design, which, thanks to a company in Tanzania here, they wrote to me when I won one of the awards. They said, this company is called A to Z. They said, it will be our pleasure to partner with you in manufacturing these new innovation water filters and marketing them in Tanzania and other countries. Lo and behold, I got a partnership from this company, and it was a breakthrough for my filter. So at present, this company now is helping me for manufacturing this filter they have a facility for making these filter containers. We make them at this company, and I was so happy to launch my filter on my birthday 2 years ago. So it is in the market now, a beautiful filter, and we are selling it to households, but also we have a bigger version for the schools and the institutions. And also we have another style where we put it in a small kiosk where women entrepreneurs purify water and sell to their community at a price that is 5 times cheaper than the market price. So we create job opportunities by doing this, and also the ladies are saving their community. So it's a win-win for everyone. And I'm so grateful for this approach. You can just search online for Nanofilter kiosks. You will see them. There are many. We are in Tanzania, we are in Kenya, we are in Zambia. So you can see how it's growing. In the street, you will see something like this, a Nanofilter kiosk in the street, and people get clean and safe water. And also, we are saying, we have a campaign of saying, say no to plastics. So we avoid plastics, and we use these reusable bottles. People can just refill water at a throwaway price, very cheap. And by this, we avoid plastics. So we just did a certain statistics during one of our projects, and we realized that the plastic bottles that we have saved, that will have been used, was 2.3 million plastic bottles, just by promoting this refill. People come with their bottles, they refill, and here it goes, it works. And so there is a component of our filter that is based on the nanotechnology. And so if you are interested in this presentation, I will say nanotechnology is a breakthrough, because with this we are able to make a material at a nanoscale, and therefore we increase the capacity of the material to absorb the contaminants from water, heavy metals, pesticides, and other contaminants. So I can target those specific contaminants depending on that location. So if you ask me what is unique about my filter, it is this ability to manipulate the nanomaterials and the other materials we are using to target the specific contaminants in the filter, so we can manipulate the nanomaterials. This being said, nanomaterials, of course, you are a chemist, so you know how potential of nanotechnology. It is used in different applications. Even the phone you have has a thin film, that's a nanotechnology based material. There are many other materials, laundry detergents, the clothing. There are many places where nanotechnology is used. And I think I should just end up here. If there are questions, you can ask. But this is my own innovation. I did a lot of studies of the materials of different kinds. And what we do when we go to a new place, we test the water first. I have a lab, my own lab. So we test the water to know what kind of contaminants are there. And then we target those specific contaminants that are found in that specific geographic area. And you know, it's not like a silver bullet solution. It varies from place to place. You go to this place, maybe they are suffering from fluoride, as I've said. In other place, maybe too much copper, or in mining areas, lead, or what is that, mercury or what. But we target all those specific contaminants, so I can customize my filter to remove those specific contaminants. This being said, I am welcoming you for questions, and here we go. Asanteni sana. Thank you very much. Thank you for listening.
Thank you so much for your inspiring talk, Professor Hilonga. It was very interesting to see how you came from little village in Africa, and then you made such a big difference to everyone again. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
I'm very glad to have you here as a speaker for us. We do have quite a few questions as well. So it's more questions towards your business experience as well.
Yes.
So was there a point in the research when you realized you could turn this idea into a viable business?
It was a progressive process. It is not like one day thing I say, wow, I got it. No, it was a process. When I was in South Korea, I was doing PhD. I saw the great potential of nanotechnology. They are using these nanomaterials for this, nanomaterial for this. And then I searched for water purification, because when I was a little boy, the struggle I got is terrible in water, with waterborne diseases. I struggled a lot. I can show you even the marks of my struggles. But so when I was in South Korea now, when I was doing the PhD, I saw the potential. I say, wow, this thing can be used. So what can I do now? What to manipulate? How, like that? So when I returned to Tanzania, I said, okay, enough is enough. Let me do something now. So I came up with a prototype. I put it in the market. People tried it. They gave me feedback. I improved it until it is now in the market, fully fledged business, a very serious business indeed.
Thank you so much. It's very interesting as well. I was just also wondering, did you ever experience any doubts as to whether your business could successfully take off?
No, not like in terms of giving up, but in terms of struggles, or very serious struggles. You see, some people look at it and say, it looks like a primary school project. But I am a PhD holder, so I have to work, I improve it and what. So, but I did not give up. I was looking for alternatives. Whenever the way is blocked, I look for another exit. Okay, this is not working, but it's not the end of my journey. Let me find another alternative way.
In terms of your struggles, could you give any examples, if you don't mind sharing them?
Yeah, any example is like this arrangement of the filter containers. Like what can I do, because there's airlock here, the water is not coming. Sometimes the color is different, the taste is terrible. It's a lot of struggle. You improve this, you fail on this. You improve that. So from the design of the filter, the water properties, the taste, the smell, the whatever. So there is a lot of struggle. But again, selling the business itself, people want to test the product. People already used beautiful gadgets from China, from developed countries. So now it's difficult to believe a product that can really come from an African here, or our fellow, we really know this guy, can he really come up with something? So that doubt from the customers, so I had to give them education, exposure, and finally it was possible for them to accept. After they started testing, that first customers who came, you see, and then others now we are sharing the experiences from these first customers. It was easier. It's easier now because there are first customers. Yes.
Excellent, excellent. Another question I have is, how long can a filter be used for?
This filter, I was predicting 5 years, but now it is 7 years, and they are still working. It just needs maintenance service. You need to maintain, change the material when it's saturated, like that. So it can go up to 7 years.
May I ask, what is the materials made up of, if you're allowed to divulge that?
Materials are different depending on the kind of water we have. But there is a section that has sand, which removes the debris, the particles, and so on. There is a section with activated carbon. It removes bad smell and so on. There is a section with the carbon char. We burn the cow bones and make a char, char from the bones that removes fluoride. And then If needed, there are sections where we put nanomaterials to target chemical contaminants that are difficult to remove, if any. If we find something that's really difficult to remove, and then we can develop silica doped, silver doped silica, or some, depending on the kind of contaminants we find in that specific water. So I customize my filter.
That's very cool. That's very cool. Someone asked, what is the class of nanomaterials you use in the filter?
Again, it depends on the size of the filter, but the materials range from around $20 per cartridge, around $20 plus, depending on the size. Now there are big filters can go to 200. It depends.
Okay, thank you. Another question is, what do you look for when building a team?
Pardon?
What do you look for when building a team? Specifically, I think in terms of your business, when you're building your business. Yeah.
No, that's a headache. That's a difficult question. I'm still struggling with a team to get talented people, committed people, sacrificial commitment to follow my example. So that's not easy. Truly. I think chemistry is easier than handling people. Human resource is terrible.
Yeah.
When they find a greener pasture, they just leave you. But I am trying to maintain my team. I motivate them in different ways, and I am committed to them. Yeah.
That makes sense. Thank you. Thank you. Let me see. What are some of the skills that you would consider important when starting a business?
Sacrificial commitment. You have to be passionate and very committed, because if you don't have enough commitment, there are many things. Actually, there are 1,003 things that can discourage you to continue. There are just many parameters. Anything can just fail. But if it is your passion, it's your commitment, you have a reason why you are doing what you are doing, then you will be fully committed. So I am challenging people to find their passion. What is your passion? As for me, I wanted to solve my people's challenges. I was not looking for money, how to be rich. Maybe it's better to sell drugs. If I want to be rich, I will go to drugs maybe. But I wanted to solve people, to see the smile of the lady like this one who has got an employment because of my filter. That motivates me to wake up every day. I wake up early every day at 3 a.m. 3 a.m. every day, including last night. So I wake up, I work hard, I am very committed, I'm serious with what I'm doing. And I think that's a breakthrough. And people who partner with me, they look also at that commitment, they see how I deliver. If it's a project, it has got objectives, it has got whatever we have signed a contract, I fulfill according to the agreement. And partners are happy. That's why I'm showing you many partners, and they are happy that I deliver. And that's the good character that they are looking for.
Yeah. I think maybe we'll have time for 2 more questions. One last question is, how did you raise funding for your business ventures?
Very interesting question. I started with my own salary, but later I asked for a loan, interest-free loan from a university. They gave me $7,000 US, and I'm so grateful to the Nelson Mandela University for this. They gave me a very good kickoff to put a minimum viable product in the market. And after that, I won the Africa Prize for Engineering Innovation. This is sponsored by the Royal Academy of Engineering. That was £25,000, a lot of money for me that time. Later, I got a bigger grant from the UK Aid. This is through the HDIF, Human Development Innovation Fund, from the UK Aid. This was £350,000. Now you can, at least you also see that this is truly a big money. And I continued that, but now the business itself, I built also my own hotel. It's also bringing some money. These kiosks are bringing money, filter sales, and the business is growing big, and I'm creating job opportunities for many Tanzanians, Kenyans, and the Zambians who are working for my product.
Thank you so much. And then just one more question I would like to ask. What advice would you give to someone who wants to start a business?
The advice I can give is that think big, but start small, learn fast, grow quick. That is my formula. Think big, start small, learn fast, grow quick. That is the formula. Be passionate, Be committed with what you are doing, and you will be a billionaire. And not only in terms of money, but in terms of impacting people's lives.
That's very, very inspiring, and I love that statement. Could you repeat it one more time, just because it's so
God
good?
bless you. Let us be billionaires. I am determined to be a billionaire in terms of impacting billions of lives. God bless you.
I love it. Thank you so much. Thank you so much,
Thank
Professor Hilonga. It
Thank
has been
you.
a great honor to have you here.
Thank you very much.
I'd like to hand over to Fatima to continue to introduce the next speaker.
Can you see my screen?
Yes, we can see your screen.
Okay, awesome. All right, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Dr. Hilonga. And we are happy here to introduce Dr. Kocherga. Dr. Margaret Kocherga, she is the founder and CEO of Margik in North Carolina, USA. She is an award-winning early-stage entrepreneur originally from Ukraine. She is the founder and CEO of Light and Charge Solutions, a startup founded in November of 2019 with a focus on the production of materials for organic electronics. In 2019, she was also recognized as an innovator by Charlotte's inaugural Under 25 program. She received her PhD in nanoscale science from University of North Carolina, Charlotte, where her main specialty is in the area of electron transport materials for organic light emitting diodes for lighting and displays. In addition to being a scientist, she is also a professional ballerina, where a career-threatening injury diverted her into starting research in heavy metal coordination chemistry during an undergraduate program, which led her to organic and inorganic hybrid materials for electronics. She's currently participating in the entrepreneurial program Chain Reaction Innovations in partnership with Argonne National Lab to help accelerate her technology's market readiness. Without further ado, we are happy to have Dr. Margaret here to explain a little bit more about her chemistry, research, and technology, and how she has moved this from a lab to a business. So I will allow you now to share your screen.
Okay, so hopefully I can go full screen. All right, here we go. Great.
It was in full screen. Now it's small.
Perfect. It's full screen right now.
Full screen. Okay, I guess it was a
Perfect.
delay in the gods of the internet. All right. Well, thank you for having me. I really appreciate your time. And I'll start a little bit about who am I as a person first and bring a little bit of personality to it. I'm originally from Ukraine. I was born and raised there, and I'm currently actively participating, trying to help my community that is there. So if anybody has any desire to help or has relatives in that area, please feel free to reach out. I'll put you in connection and in touch with some of the others that can help. I have 2 dogs, and I try to bring them everywhere I go. They love to travel. They're a lot of fun, and I have been to 22 countries. I always try to explore as many things as I can, learn as many things as I can. It is impossible to learn everything, but we can always stay curious, and that's the main motivation behind what I do. I originally started out not as a dreaming to be scientist. I dreamed to be a ballet dancer since very, very, very young age, and I had a pretty successful career in that area, and I still perform sometimes, and I have been teaching for the past 12 years in the different industries. My career started out as an academy of dance, studying ballet. And then in the United States, I had shifted towards science for whatever reason. I just really loved it and really liked being in lab. And then I moved into studying chemistry, and then after that, nanoscale science. So if anybody interested in the path of moving through community college experience, associate's degree through bachelor's through PhD, and what were my motivations, feel free to ask as well about that. I also had a great opportunity to be a TEDx speaker, kind of speaking about some of the hardships in life that drove my curiosity and build who I am today and help me stay focused on my goals. I also had some very interesting kind of atypical experiences for a PhD student. I had built several community engagement programs to spread awareness and more knowledge about the STEM careers, and that it is possible to change even careers if you so desire. I had National Science Foundation Award for Graduate Workforce Preparedness, and then I established partnership with Charlotte Teachers Institute to be able to bring 2 teachers into our labs, kind of help them teach the dissertation research that I've been working on, as well as translate my PhD research into hands-on experiments for 8th grade science class, where children can learn about the advanced science concepts within their program and curriculum. So that was a very amazing experience that I had. I always also participate in a variety of scientific festivals or any other opportunities to engage with the local community and spread awareness of science, that there's not just one look for a scientist. Also, I had the unique experience of participating in customer discovery programs, entrepreneurial programs, which are now becoming more and more popular within universities as well as local communities. So you don't really have to be a university student to participate in those if that's what you're interested in. But that's a great opportunity for you to be able to validate your idea, to see if people are even interested in what you have to offer before you even try to spend any money on it or really get yourself in trouble for doing it. So you first try to figure out, well, what's the market interest? Is this the good timing? What would be of interest as far as minimal product to get on market? What could be a potentially ultimate product? Who you're going to sell to? So these are great opportunities that exist out there. And now I would like to talk about a little bit more about what I do with my company. And we are a chemical manufacturing company with applied implement into consumer electronic devices. So eventually in the future, we may have a cereal box that will have a display on it. And we're not too far from that reality where a lot of our lives around us will be surrounded by displays. The main reason that industry is currently switching to organic types of electronics is part of it is due to problems with supply chain and the mining and the resources that we're having, but also there is a problem with recycling issues. These technologies often simply cannot be even recycled. So you have a lot of these toxic materials just leaching into the landfills due to all the waste that is sitting on there and getting into our food resources. So really not good. And organic light-emitting diodes, for example, that can be used for a variety of applications in lighting and display industries, offer flexibility from a standpoint of device design. They're eye-safe, as well as they are eco-friendly and potentially can be even biodegradable. Now, the current problem of this industry is that these devices are very complex to make. There's way too many steps. There's these steps have to be completed one step at a time. You can't skip anything, and it is very time consuming. So that's very, very challenging. For example, iPhone X cost of production was $40 billion for 100K units sold. That is not so cheap. So that is why this industry kind of has a cap of globalization. It is simply inaccessible, even though it can have potential of being so much better. So the needed solution for the industry is simplification of device design to the most essential materials, which means you need to be able to perform multiple jobs within each layer. And the current problems on the market to try to do that, you either have to use scarce elements, or it is incompatible with current manufacturing techniques, or the performance decreases. So you kind of always have to have these trade-offs in order to make this happen. So what we are offering is a novel multifunctional organic materials platform, which has capability of accommodating 2 out of the 3 layers. There are plenty of companies that have the central layer, which is emissive layer, which causes that light emission, and they are doing a great job at that. And we're just existing to assist them in doing that job consistently and to best as possible. So we can do electron transport as well as hole transport to ensure efficiency of the light emission in the middle layer. Now, it doesn't have to be just for OLEDs, it can also be for solar cells. It's just we're mostly currently focusing on the application of the OLED technology. Now, we had a great opportunity to partner up with the Crane tool analysis and do some of the projections of impact of such technology. What if we were all to switch to organic light emitting diode technology with all of the consumer electronic devices? What would happen is that if we have gradual incorporation of these devices through year 2050, we would see a 23% power consumption reduction, as well as at least 8,000 megaton of CO2 per year greenhouse emissions reduction. So it's a great impact, not only from a standpoint of the resources and the health and our environment, but also the greenhouse emissions impact that we have from just our day-to-day use of electronic devices. We've been able to pull a team together, and we're always growing and always looking for a new talent. It does take time and commitment. Like was said before, there always has to be a drive behind what you're doing. It is fairly difficult, and sometimes you feel like you're just beating your head against the wall and you're not moving anywhere, and you need a strong team to support you and push through all the challenges and difficulties that appear. So I really appreciate my team. Now, as far as competition, we do tend to compete with large manufacturers and producers, but the neat thing about the industry is the fact that for example, as different OLED technologies had came in the market, different materials-based spin-offs would appear to address the new needs. So more or less, every company picks certain niches that they're really, really good at. And that's exactly how we're approaching going in the market. We're going after the customers that are focused specifically on eye-safe and environmentally friendly displays, where that is a higher priority over, let's say, efficiency or anything else like that. So that's exactly what we're going for, and modeling how all of these companies became successful within what they're doing, and taking their experience as example. Now, as far as business growth, we are first launched some of the sample kits to test out the demand and some of the other industries that these products can be useful for, that we just don't have the bandwidth to pay attention to. And our current focus is entering niche and luxury items applications, and moving into then expanding through lighting, solar, smart window technologies to grow a market and scale up the production, which would establish our track record to get into the ultimate consumer electronics market, which is very skeptical of newbies, and you do need to have a pathway of showing, hey, we are actually capable of delivering consistently and be a reliable supplier. As we all have seen, the 2020 has shown us that supply chain issues are real, and geographic diversity as well as diversity and resourcing is important to all of the industries. And as far as what we have been able to do so far, is we have been able to produce some of the prototypes with our potential customers. And like I mentioned before, some of the things that were important to us is compatibility with manufacturing as well as the device efficiency, as typically customers would experience decrease in performance. Well, we found out that's actually not the case. We're able to maintain the lifetime of the devices, simplify the manufacturing, and increase the device performance, while also enabling power consumption reduction and greenhouse emission reduction. So that's very exciting for us. And we are getting ready to really scale up and get moving a lot more rapidly from now on, because it's a huge milestone for us. And it had really cleared up a lot of worries that we personally had as well as our customers. Now, as far as where we stand at, what traction we have built up, participated in 6 accelerators and mentoring programs ranging from United States to European-based programs. And we have also received over $1 million worth of funding as of now, non-dilutive funding, and we have formed 2 partnerships with Argonne National Lab to perform our technological milestones, as well as University of North Carolina at Charlotte. Some of the other neat things I've been able to do is to partner with business schools of University of Charlotte as well as University of Chicago, Illinois, and work with students on real life problems and applying their knowledge that they learned in their classroom about international business into a real business like us, where we take our business model from the United States and look at how does it transfer to other countries, because it doesn't always stay the same. It is really important to understand the other risks in other countries, or how business is done from cultural perspective as well as geographic perspective. So that was really exciting for us, and we are excited to continue these partnerships with students to help them learn real life skills through just hands-on experiences. Now, the good of entrepreneurship is the fact that you are capable of dictating the vision. You can choose values for the company that you establish yourself and you hold your team to. You do get access to an amazing network of people that want to make change. You do have somewhat of a flexible schedule, but that's a stretch there. More often than not, I think about the company kind of 24/7. And it is a very idea and impact-driven community that you tap into, and a lot of the people around you do truly want to make change for the better of the world. And you really can't be a good entrepreneur if you're money-driven. If you want to earn cash, you're probably better off doing just about anything else than this. It is extreme time sink, as well as it is very slow to get going. And you're also able to impact the future regardless of your success. So even if your venture does not get on market, and for whatever reason, you still influence the community, and you're still setting an example of what path have you taken, what worked, what didn't work, for others to be able to improve upon it. Now, the challenges here is that it is somewhat of a lonely journey. Even though there's so many people around you, you're a really unique person with experiences that you have prior, as well as what you're good at, but also the challenges that you personally experience. There are also plenty of people you can ask the questions about, but you're really the only one that truly understands what you're experiencing. So you have to be really comfortable with that idea that you just have to get around and ask and explain exactly what your troubles are and what's worrying you in order to be able to get help. You'll get a lot of no's. Majority of your days will be spent hearing a no, and that is very challenging psychologically. So you have to prepare yourself that more often than not, you'll hear a no over a yes, and you really have to just keep trying, apply, and see what went wrong, see if people can provide you feedback and improve upon it. Now, it is really tough, I told you, to break through, and you kind of need to know someone to get somewhere. And if you don't have a rich uncle, you do have to work pretty hard. And very commonly, entrepreneurs in the area of scientific ventures start with government non-dilutive funding, then moving into either loans or investment money. So there's angel investments, there's venture funds, there's venture capital investors. So there are multiple ways of structure that fundraising opportunity as well. Or if you can launch on market as fast as possible using a small loan or small non-dilutive funding grant from government, and not even give away any equity of your company, that's also have been done. But if you have a capital intensive idea, then most likely you will end up having to talk to venture capital investors. So raising money for R&D is somewhat simpler because it is more likely than not you will be competing for government-based programs, and they are quite a bit more accepting of new ideas. And but hiring gets very hard. The talent required, the diverse talent that's required for startups is competitive, and just offering more money is actually not effective. So you really need to understand what your values and what your vision is in order to be able to encourage other people to join that ride with you. And you eat, sleep, and dream startup for real. So that's kind of the sides. And what I do as a founder of a tech startup, well, I look at the vision, the growth of the company, and I also look at market research, talking to customers, writing proposals for funding, pitching at competitions and to investors. I also take care, as of now, HR, accounting, payment stubs, ordering supplies. I almost landed that off to one of my people that work for me. It's financial management, it's forming new partnerships, it is project management, questioning my life choices sometimes, and driving the revolution of electronics industry to become sustainable. So with that, I would like to open the floor for questions. Please feel free to email me or connect on LinkedIn. It's just my name is listed here if you have further questions, but also feel free to ask them here.
Thank you so much for your presentation, Dr. Kocherga. It was very enlightening to see your journey as you started from, as you say, a ballerina to a scientist. In regards to that journey, I was just wondering, what obstacles did you face trying to shift from, say, a professional sports career to now becoming a scientist?
Yeah, I had multiple struggles in that regard because that's when I also moved to United States. So I moved here not speaking any English or not really understanding anything around the culture, what's going on. It's a different climate, different everything. So that was double of the struggle. Plus, imagine being a 15-year-old that got injured and was told you'll never dance again, right? That's just all dreams crashed, and you don't know what to do with yourself no more. And the only thing that I was sure of, and I graduated high school at 15, was the fact that I wanted to go to college. That was like the one milestone that did not move at that point, while everything else was crashed. So that's why I went to community college first, because I was still not sure, what do I want to study? Do I want to study dance? Do I want to explore something different? I still don't really speak English all that well. So that's exactly where I started from, is just really trying to get myself exposed to a variety of opportunities, to learn about different careers, to see what my interest would be. So that's where I found my interest in science. I really love being in lab. So when I was transferring to a four-year university, I emailed a variety of professors in chemistry, department saying, hey, I want to volunteer, I want to shadow your students to see what I would like to be doing. And people were super welcoming of that. Everybody's super welcoming of that, to be able to shadow and see what projects out there, what is really cooking in the kitchen and how it's done. Because yeah, I went in not even understanding what a scientific publication was or anything like that, just completely clueless about all of it. And I realized that I just love science. I love chemistry. I love being able to put something in the flask and see the powder form or color change. And it's just, you're the one creating the magic in front of you. And what a fascinating thought that you're creating something that nobody's ever done before. What? I can do that with my life for a living? So it just really took me all in at that point. And during my after my junior year, I was recommended to do a summer research position full time. People have saw that I have potential for that, where I got to lead my own project, and I had 2 high school students that I was managing on the project as well. And after that experience, I was told, well, I might want to think about grad school, since I am pretty good at managing research projects and driving the research forward. And I was like, I don't know what that entails. I have no idea. Now thinking back, if I knew, I probably would have never done it. I was just so oblivious that I said, you know what, let's go, let's do it. But that's what I kind of did. I just applied to a program saying, if I get in, I'll do it. If not, I'll go get a job. So just kind of one of those risk-taking things. Let's see how the fate will go, and let it deal with it. Now, my question was, do I choose master's or do I choose PhD? Because that's a common question that you need to ask yourself, because getting a PhD really puts you in a certain bracket, and unless you have correct understanding of what you want to do in the future, first of all, you'll end up kicking yourself out of opportunities. Otherwise, if you get a PhD, many of the opportunities will close on you. But second problem, it is a very difficult and different journey from your undergraduate journey, because usually most people have their own life in grad school. Many have kids and other things that have to be taken care of, and it is just a much more challenging journey overall, emotionally, physically, financially, that you really need to have very proper vision of why are you doing this, what's the end goal. And if your only reason just so that people can call me doctor, well, it's a terrible reason. I'll tell you that right now, because my very first semester in grad school I ended up just crying in the chair of the department's office for an hour, and her convincing me not to quit. That's basically all it was. It's a very tough journey. You really, really need a strong motivation to do it. But my reasoning for PhD was, I realized that I probably won't be very good at very in-depth knowledge. I started pretty late and there were a lot of moving parts to it, but I knew about myself that I'm very good at management and management of the projects, building new relationships, growing teams, operating teams, discovering new projects. So that's exactly what I focused on my PhD. I joined a program that was a partnerships of 6 different departments. I worked with 3 of the departments of the 6 on the collaborative dissertation project. So really kept it broad in that sense that I am exposed to a lot of things at once. So that way I can drive the innovation forward. Now, back then I had no idea what entrepreneurship was. Once again, super oblivious to it. And because I've got the opportunity to do customer discovery program, I was literally told when I asked, so what am I supposed to do here? And all I was told is that you just need to be able to talk. And I said, great, I can do that. And as a very depressed PhD student, questioning, does anybody even care about anything I do anymore? I guess that program came at a very right time. And maybe it acted in a positive way for my venture too, because I came to it with the questions of, okay, let's figure out what's the big picture. where's the problem, where are we at now in the industry, who has what kind of problem, are there common trends? And as I started to ask these questions, I started to see, oh, I see a very common trend, and I can actually help this problem with my work. So that's how I got into filing a patent, figuring out how I can make this into a product, how to do commercialization thing. So that's how my path of entrepreneurship has started, is just really taking that one step at a time.
That sounds very interesting. Like, I wouldn't say it's the norm, but it sounds like an interesting sideways way in. It sounds like you started off not knowing what you wanted to do, but you found what you were good at while you were on the road, and then you came to the right place in the end. Which is very cool.
That's what I want to encourage, and especially students that have great opportunity of changing their life and pivoting 100 degrees, 180 degrees, is try to take on every opportunity that comes in. As hard as it is, just do it. Even if it scares the life out of you, just go ahead and take on any opportunity that comes your way, because you just don't know what you don't know. Right? If not the failures of things that I've done in my life, I wouldn't have tried something new. And trying something new, I was like, oh, I'm actually really loving this. But preemptively, I wouldn't have known, right? Nobody in my life, in my family, was doing science or startup, right? How am I supposed to get exposed to it if my immediate circle isn't? And that's usually where the problem is. It's very difficult to learn something new unless your family is already doing it, because you just simply don't get exposed to it. So that's what I want to encourage people. Just take on that extra networking opportunity, or that workshop that you have no idea about. Just try it out. You never know what's going to happen.
And in terms of that, I love how you mentioned the idea that you have mentors in your business plan. So I was just wondering, what is the importance of having mentors in your life?
Yeah, I have mentors just for about every aspect. At this point, there's mentors that help me to be a CEO. There's mentors for my company as an entity, and both are equally important. And I always tell people that ask me, well, why you are the one to be the CEO? My response to that is there a major in school that teaches you how to be a CEO? Not as far as I've checked. It is really a combination of personal experiences and really that drive and the learning that you can accomplish, and really you're keeping the open mind and very smart balance of, okay, market demand versus what you can do, and how to make sure you're always aligned between the two, because especially in the consumer electronics industry, it's such a rapidly moving world, and I'm a supplier. So I have to understand not only what manufacturers want, but what the end consumers want too. I need to almost predict 2 steps ahead who's gonna what want. And yeah, so that's really why you really need people that either come from experience of long-term experience, and for a variety of areas. The more different areas there are, the better. Once again, nobody can know absolutely everything, period. But there are experts on certain tasks, certain things that you need. And my mentorship teams actually had evolved in the last 3 years a lot. Some people are no longer even a part of it because they were experts in that early stage. But now I have grown out of it. I needed people that are experts in that next stage. Now I'm about to grow out this phase, so I'm looking for those people that can help me get to that next phase and opportunity. So that's also important, to not stay stagnant. It is important to appreciate those mentors that you had worked with before, and thank them for what they have done or where they helped you to do, and part ways in good terms, and just say, hey, looks like we've grown out in this relationships. I would love to stay in touch, but we need to move on and find somebody who would have a better line expertise with where I'm going now, because you evolve, needs change, things change, and mentors are very understanding of that. So as long as you really state it up front and just describe what exactly you're trying to do there, so nobody's feelings get hurt, and it is a normal thing to do, and there's nothing wrong about it. Now, people are very willing to give advice. As silly as it sounds, right? Well, people like learning that they're the expert and they're the ones to do the thing that you're asking them to do. And you're not going to be asking them to work 20 hours a week, right? It's usually just a couple hours a month, occasional email every now and again. So you're not pestering them anyway, so it doesn't take a lot of their time to do something like it. So if you see an expert in the area you're trying to do, go on LinkedIn, shoot them an email, join an organization they're part of to network in it, and simply ask them if that would be something they have time for and would be willing to do. More often than not, you'll get a yes. And if it's a no, they will probably introduce you to somebody who would say a yes.
That's very cool. That's very good advice. Thank you. In terms of the consumer side, I was just curious. So we had a question about how do you talk to customers? And another question was, what skills should you have to have fruitful conversations with customers? As well as, do you know any marketing tactics that you find effective in finding new customers?
Yeah, we're B2B in a very tight space, so it's not like there's a lot of customers to start with, only a couple of dozens, so it's not a big list. The tactics I started out with back when I was in grad school, which was quite a bit easier because people are much more willing to talk to a student than a CEO of a company for a variety of reasons. Back then, I started out with two things. So I did my customer discovery experience back when traveling and in-person things were the thing to do. So one of the things I did was I just, for some odd reason, I thought it was a smart idea to hop on a plane, just get to Silicon Valley and walk around different companies and knock on doors.
Nice.
Got kicked out with security a couple of times. My co-entrepreneurial lead almost got in jail, but just be careful. But what I was able to do by just knocking on doors and asking, hey, you got a second for a cup of coffee, that really opened up some really nice relationships. Maybe they weren't the person to talk to at that point, or it's not the right timing for me to be talking to them. At least it was the beginning and the seed of that network creation. And that's probably the biggest part of it. So whatever tech conferences, trade shows, community interest groups, join them. Because every business starts from a human relationship. So you really can't start, nobody wants to hear a sales pitch. Do you want to hear a sales pitch? No, nobody wants to hear a sales pitch, period. Just nobody cares about it, nobody likes it, nobody wants to do it. Everybody hates it. So you need to base things off of personal relationships. Now, if it so happens that there is a value creation within that relationships, that's the most natural way to do it. Opposite approach is you seek those who has the value needs aligned with what you can provide. And then you're a lot more upfront. Well, I see that you can benefit from certain values based on what you do. Let me know if I'm correct about this, if you're experiencing these things, or there's something else I can be of value of. So it's never starting with the sales pitch really necessarily, unless you already have a product. All you're trying to do is to grow your customer database. Then you approach those departments that are responsible for a supply chain and suppliers, and you just say, hey, this is the product we have. This is what it can do for you. Are you interested or not? Or there's something else I can offer. Then you're a little bit more upfront. But the early customer discovery is really all about relationship building. It is much easier for me to do customer discovery now because I do have those relationships, and I just say, hey, do you know a person that would know about this? And they just simply can introduce me, and I can ask them a lot more directly. But the very early on, just to give people, I'm not sure if that's an encouragement or discouragement, because we had to do in our program 100 in-person interviews within the 8-week span. I was sending out messages on LinkedIn and email 100 a day for 8
Wow,
weeks.
that's a
And
lot.
my success rate was maybe 10% on a good week of getting at least a phone call conversation, which then would have turned into a meeting, or even a response to a message to start with, whether it was no, I'm not interested, or yes, I will talk to you. So you do have to do a lot of it. It's not like, oh, every person will successfully talk to you, and not because they're evil or whatever. It's just lives are busy nowadays.
I was also curious, it might be a bit of a personal question, but I was wondering, as a woman in science and business, do you ever find any pushback against when you try and pitch your ideas to potential
Oh, all the
customers?
time, from everybody, from just about everybody. Yeah, I'm also in the industry that is non-traditionally perceived to be a white woman. So it is challenging from a cultural perspective. Now, I try to play that to my benefit as much as I can. I damn sure not forgettable. Everybody will remember one of 5 women in the room. I'm also almost 6 foot tall, so it's kind of hard to miss me. So I try to use that to my advantage as well, is that I know that I'm going to be remembered and I'm going to be a statement in the room. And I try to push on that as much as I can. A great advice I was given by one of the mentors I met in Accelerator, and I didn't notice that happening until she pointed out as being a thing. So she described to me a situation where just like a networking opportunity, there's a table of people, some entrepreneurs, some VCs, some corporate members. And when male counterparts, entrepreneurs, were answering the questions of investors and corporate folks, they would be asked questions such as, tell me about what your startup is doing, what is your technology, what are you trying to do with your company, versus female founders would be asked questions, well, how many people in your company do you have? Are you already in a market? Have you even tried a prototype? Do you have any partnerships? So they're similar, they're same questions essentially, but with a flavor of a doubt towards female founders. So whether it's done consciously or not, right? Instead of trying to be aggressively defensible in the response, try not to answer questions first if you can, just to kind of see the flavor of questions other people get, so you can grasp, most likely you will be getting same questions, they'll be just formulated differently. So instead of trying to defend yourself, take a step back and describe it in the same manner as other people were talking about it. Yeah, kind of softly redirecting without confrontation. Nobody likes confrontation. I'll just tell you that. Nobody likes confrontation. So don't do it. You're bound to fail by doing that. So take a step back, take a breath. Don't be upset. Don't get hurtful, because a lot of times people just don't notice it. It's not because they want to be mean. It's just they don't notice it. They lived 40, 50, 60 years of their life doing things one way, and all of a sudden we're asking them to change everything they were doing in their life, right? So you just have to be a little bit more patient. I know it sucks. Same thing for folks of color. Just take a deep breath. Don't go in with frustration, and just answer the questions in a positive manner. Don't be the one to bring in the negativity, and that will be definitely helpful. But yeah, I've been asked some really stupid questions, and I'm like, I don't even understand why adults do that. I had a conversation with an investor, and I was literally asked a question, well, what's gonna happen if you get pregnant? Who's gonna manage the company? And I'm like, what kind of question is that? I just quit the call and I just never talked to that person again, because I'm like, if you're asking these types of questions, we have nothing to talk about here. Now, if you were to ask questions, okay, how would you handle a situation if, let's say, you have to be out for some time? How would you manage the company? Who would be the one to take over? Do you have any safety in place, right? There's life situations happen. I might get sick. Whatever needs to happen, I need to be out. How is the company not going to shut down? Do you have any safety in place? Now, that's an appropriate question to ask, and I would love to answer that question because that's exactly what I'm always working on. I don't want to be the bottleneck of operations, of day-to-day operations of the company, and it needs to be able to sustain itself, whether or not I'm capable to immediately act on every aspect of it. So that's an important question to ask. But silly questions like that, it's a completely inappropriate, and it is none of your business how I'm going to handle a situation like that.
Definitely, that does sound very inappropriate. But speaking as being a founder of your company, do you find that you spend more time doing the business rather than the science?
I do not go in lab at all at this point. A few months ago, I went, well, I check in daily, right? I just don't do any lab work. And I work out of 2 locations and the people working in labs. But yeah, one of my locations, I came in, I tried to do something. I literally got yelled at, just go away, don't touch anything, stay in the corner, we'll come talk to you. And I was like, oh, but that's my lab. I started this, I invented this. So it is a little bit of that challenge that sometimes you do have to let certain things go so you can do more things where you are more needed. Now, I do still do trainings of people that are coming in, that are onboarding in lab hands-on. If there's certain challenges with chemical reactions or things that have been failing that worked before, I'll come in and see what's the issue, just kind of with a fresh eye that people hadn't noticed, just because I have more experience in this area or whatever have you, or just because simply I have more network or my name is heavier value, then I can just resolve the issue much faster than my employees would. So that's what I do more, but no, I don't do any science nowadays. I do read, I do have conversations, I do stay active in the scientific community, but I don't physically go in lab, which is very sad. I love being in lab. It's so calming and soothing to me. I love bench work. I love that wet chemistry, instrumentation. So I definitely miss it quite a bit.
Sure, yeah. You mentioned training. So I was just curious, what resources are available to help graduate students if they wanted to start their own business?
Yeah, that is probably one of the toughest positions to be in. There are, on one hand, there are many resources. There are many entrepreneurial programs. Even if you type accelerators on Google, there are tons of programs that will come up to you. Some are free, some even pay you to do it. Some have travel money associated, some have prototype money associated with them. So those things exist. Now, the problem comes at a point, if it's, let's say, your graduate research work, and you are trying to have a incorporated company while you're still a student and execute on the tasks of the company. And if they overlap with your PhD research, that's a direct conflict of interest, which is very, very difficult to mitigate. And that's where a lot of problems exist. So most students cannot execute on their company formation and some of the other tasks until they've graduated. Now, that's not a point of discouragement. What I would encourage people to do in that time instead is take every entrepreneurial course you can, any training, any networking opportunity. Go talk to MBA students. They also have tons of events all the time, and you don't have to be an MBA student to be able to attend them or learn something like that, or learn about marketing. God, I wish I knew marketing before I started. I made so many mistakes that I just wish that I didn't, if I just knew ahead of time about it. And marketing apparently is such an important part in a lot of ways, as well as work on funding opportunities, like writing grant proposals, it's a difficult task and it takes a lot of time to learn how to do it. So you being a student is actually the best time to be able to do things like that, while you can take your time to write a good proposal, to have multiple people read it, to give your feedback before you apply. And proposals take at least 9 months to process. So by the time you graduate, that's roughly by the time you will get it anyway, or you can just ask to delay the project a little bit if the need comes in, because a lot of these grant opportunities usually you can apply either before the company is incorporated, or you incorporate but you don't have to be full-time working on it, which that removes that conflict of interest too. So that's the way that I would approach it, is if your invention is in direct correlation with your research, just take that other aspect. And arguably that's maybe even a better approach, because the more you're aware of the market needs, the more data you have on what exact product the customer wants and is willing to pay. Like, what would be that product that you can offer them and I will sign that check today if they had it? Really know that inside and out before you get in lab period, before you spend any penny on trying to make a product. Just really understand what is the customer problem, how, and what's important, you want to ask them how they want that problem to be solved. Because what you think is the right solution may not be the right solution for them. And you may not be on the same page. So you really want to understand what's the dollar amount of that problem they're willing to spend to fix it, what would be a good enough solution to get started, and how they want it fixed. So that's really important. And when. Yes, sometimes they want it fixed yesterday, which is great. You want a hair on fire problem. Sometimes they're like, well, it's kind of a problem, but it's kind of within a 5-year milestone, so it's not really a problem. Then it's probably not a good business case if that's the case. And you want that really, we needed this fixed a year ago and we still can't. And this is the reason why we couldn't do it.
Okay, cool. In terms of dealing with the things that you need to balance when you start a business and whatnot, I'm assuming you experience a lot of feelings of like doubt or fear. How would you manage? How do you manage those feelings?
It depends. Sometimes it's going great, and no matter how many no's I heard that day, I'll still be in great mood. Some days, yesterday actually, I'm not gonna walk too far. I was messaging one of my first employees and be like, "Why are you still doing this? What's the point? Like, does anybody care? I just don't know anymore." And it was very nice to kind of see the employee perspective of what's driving them and what's driving them past the obstacles. And he responded, well, first of all, I really want to see what I'm making get into a real life product. I don't want this just to be a research article on a shelf. I want it to be a product that is helping somebody, that is doing something in life, and it's not just knowledge, which knowledge is important, but it is definitely a different level of knowledge creation when you have a product on market. And then after that, he said he sent me a video of the reaction turning from non-luminescent to a luminescent product that we're trying to make, and he said, well, I just won't be able to see the cool things like that if I'm not doing this. It's sometimes the little things, the simple things in life. And he said, well, I got opportunity to make this stuff, so it's bringing me joy to do it. And I was like, wow, I appreciate it. And he was like, well, don't you already have product and commercial grade devices? Like, isn't that the definition of your defensibility of the product on market? And I said, well, you're right. I don't know why I was so upset that day. And I was like, yeah, we're actually, our products are in the mail for of a demo devices to be received, and they're manufactured and they're working. And for some odd reason, I just felt really doubtful that am I even on the right path of doing that? And sometimes you just need to get out of your head with all of your worries and challenges and just talk to somebody. And it could be as simple as just people working with you on your project and kind of talk to them about your worries, and they'd be like, you're being stupid. This is not real. Like, this is not the problem. You may have other challenges, but you doubting what you're doing is not the problem. Yeah.
Thank you for that revelation as well. It's like I always see business leaders as being always confident and sure of themselves. So it's nice to
we
know
have
that.
to, right?
Yeah.
Okay, tell me this. If I come up to you and tell you that this phone has a chance of probably frying itself from a charger within about 2 years, will you buy it?
Probably not.
Yeah, exactly, right? But even if I told you that the chance of that happening is 2%, you would still be like, I don't want to be that 2%, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. But if I come up to you and say, hey, this phone will let you stay communicated with anybody in the world at any second of your life. You can video call somebody, you can message them, you can access the worldwide knowledge with this phone. But you're risking maybe you may have to change it soon in about a couple of years. But you're like, well, my benefit is going to substantially outweigh the loss that I might experience, right? And that's really the mentality that entrepreneurs have, right? The benefit we're trying to bring to the world is substantially higher than failing, right? If we focus only on failing, we will never go anywhere. So we have to be ambitious. We have to set a goal so high that we only meet about 70% of them. And every entrepreneur you're going to talk to that has had significant success, they're going to tell you, if you are not failing, you're not dreaming big enough. Simple as that. You should not be completing 100% of your plan. And if you do start dreaming bigger, you're ready for more things to be done. 70 to 80% success is good. It's great balance. Now, if your success rate of your plan is about 20%, I would reconsider you probably asking too much for what's realistic at that point. And you have to reevaluate, okay, how am I going to get in that path? What are the milestones I need to complete in order to get there? Because I'm obviously never going to get to with a 20% success rate, period. So that's the balance. Aim for 70, 80% completion of what you're trying to accomplish in order to stay successful.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Dr. Kocherga. Sorry for time constraints, we need to end it now. But thank you so much for being a part of our workshop. It was really an honor to talk to you and to hear your story. Very
Thank you
inspiring.
for your time.
And I wish you luck.
Thank you. Have a good one.
Thank you, you too.
Thank you so much, Dr. Kocherga. Thank you so much, Tracy. I really enjoyed the conversation with you, your presentation, your technology. I really like what you said about focusing on strength and how you have focused on your strength in management particularly, and taking every opportunity that is available to network, as well as I totally agree with you that really graduate school is a great learning experience, and taking the chance to learn many things during that is a great benefit. Thank you so much. For all of our audience, if you have missed or you want to listen again to this conversation and the presentation in this workshop, stay tuned. We're going to upload that in our YouTube channel. Also, as I mentioned previously, this is number 10 workshop in this professional development series. So if you want to go back and watch our previous workshops, please go to our YouTube channel. You will see many workshops about starting from preparing and thriving in graduate school until the last management of science and innovation. As I mentioned, stay tuned. This workshop will be shortly uploaded in our workshop in our YouTube channel. Our upcoming IYCN Professional Development Workshop will be talking about non-traditional career paths for chemists. So chemists that work away from bench will be highlighted. We will have 3 speakers. from different backgrounds and different countries as well, and different, let's say, career pathways. They will discuss their careers, how they look like, and we hope by that chemists can know more about what career pathways and disciplines are available in the market. With that, we're going to be come to the end of our workshop. Thank you so much for our invited speakers. I know Dr. Hilonga has to leave early, and we enjoyed so much the conversation with Dr. Kocherga. Thank you so much for our attendee for taking the time to attend this workshop with us. And we are very looking much forward to see you in our next and upcoming workshops.